Southeast Queensland's lockdown has been extended until Sunday as health authorities grapple with the escalating Delta outbreak. 13 new locally acquired cases were recorded today, taking the cluster linked to several Brisbane schools to 31. It comes as health authorities issue a stern warning for people to stay at home. State political reporter Rachel Rieger begins our coverage.
As the Delta strain snowballs,
this outbreak, unfortunately, is escalating.
It's the youngest Queenslanders in its path. At least 6 schools are now caught up in the rapidly escalating cluster. Of today's 13 locally transmitted cases, 10 are under 9 years old. All are linked to Ironside State School in Brisbane's west. 7 are students, 5 are household contacts, and 1 is linked to karate lessons held on school grounds.
I really am very, very concerned about these 6 schools.
The missing link as to how the virus spread from 2 returned overseas travellers into the school is still not known. To give authorities more time, the lockdown across the southeast will be extended until at least 4 p.m. on Sunday.
We need to lock down really, really hard, the hardest we've ever locked down.
That will make it an 8-day lockdown. And we desperately hope that that will be sufficient for our contact tracers.
The millions of Queenslanders under stay-at-home orders are being told to do just that, with the Chief Health Officer issuing a stern rebuke to employers.
I cannot understand why anyone would be in an office today. If you are in an office today, why aren't you at home?
There's too many cars on the road in Brisbane at the moment, too many people out and about.
Calls to increase testing numbers were answered, with more than 21,000 COVID tests carried out in 24 hours. But many were left waiting for hours or were turned away.
We're extending all of our clinics to the times that they can be managed. We're getting extra workforce in.
With 66 active cases in the state, positive patients will continue to be treated at Brisbane's 4 COVID hospitals, but they're already under strain.
We're looking at how we can urgently ramp that up.
Dr. Young says at this stage she's not pushing for high school students to get vaccinated with Pfizer and wants those most at risk of spreading the virus to keep coming forward to get the jab. That includes aged care, health, hotel quarantine and airport workers. Rachel Rieger, ABC News, Brisbane.
And there's been another case recorded at a Brisbane school. Reporter Lily Nothling joins us now. Lily, what do we know so far?
Brisbane Girls Grammar notified families this afternoon that one of its students has tested positive to COVID-19. Anyone who was at the campus on Friday has been deemed a close contact. The school principal says the ramifications for the school are enormous. About 1,500 students ordered to go and get tested and isolate along with their families. We know a growing number of Brisbane schools have now been caught up in this latest cluster. Today, St Aidan's at Corinda was added to the list of contact tracing locations. That's after a positive case attended the campus on Saturday for a Japanese language school. And Brigidine College at Indooroopilly is also on alert after a case visited the school on Wednesday night for a choir rehearsal. But that list of exposure sites is continuing to grow. Today, new sites added at Moggill, at Yeronga and at netball courts at Graceville.
And Lily, a Brisbane vaccination clinic was also forced to close today. What happened?
That's right, Matt. The vaccination hub at Brisbane's Mater Hospital was shut down today after a close contact of a known COVID case attended the site. The clinic was deep cleaned and has since reopened, and its hours have been extended into tonight to accommodate some of those missed appointments. But Queensland Health says it is a reminder to people subject to quarantine orders that they must reschedule their vaccination appointments. Anyone who stands to miss out on their second dose will have their appointment rebooked for a date as close as possible to the end of those quarantine orders. Now, as for people who are healthy, well and not told to isolate, they can still go and get their vaccination during lockdown, though, like everywhere, they must wear a mask. Matt?
All right, Lily, thanks for the update. Lily Nothling. As the Delta cluster grows, more than 7,000 close contacts of positive cases are under strict quarantine orders. Efforts to contain the outbreak are having ripple effects on hospitals, with staff isolating and some elective surgery cancelled. And the Treasurer has announced help for businesses hit hard by their second lockdown in a month.
Isolating in a unit for 14 days, the only bike tracks Oscar Davis can use are virtual. He's in Year 6 at Ironside State School, where 7 students have tested positive for COVID-19.
It's just a bit hard because I'm kind of used to just being able to go outside.
We'll see how we go after 2 weeks. I don't think Oscar's quite prepared for this. It's going to be tough for both.
They got tested this morning. Getting supplies is the next challenge.
Delivery at Coles is already back to Friday, so I'm probably going to have to rely on neighbours.
More than 7,000 people deemed close contacts of positive cases are subject to strict hotel or home quarantine orders. There are flow-on effects for the health system.
Many of those will be healthcare workers, allied health, nurses, doctors, and they've got to lock themselves away.
Some outpatient appointments and elective operations will be cancelled.
I'm very, very concerned. So we are doing the work now to look at the impact of all of that health workforce being at home.
It's the second lockdown in just over a month and businesses are suffering.
It's kind of a two-edged sword because on one hand we need everyone to be safe, so you have to do it, but yet you actually need money as well.
The state government is offering $5,000 grants.
That'll be available to all Queensland businesses, and that recognises the impact that the Delta variant has had on those businesses.
It'll take 2 weeks to set up the application process.
And now to have him scrambling with work that should have been done already would make small and family business shake their head across the state.
On the Gold Coast, the Mayor says his city is in its darkest days economically.
The clusters only are in Brisbane. I would appeal to the state government, look at the data and take the Gold Coast out of lockdown.
In the Brisbane CBD, police arrested 15 lockdown protesters. Schools have spent today preparing for remote learning.
We are working today to ensure that we can roll that out from tomorrow.
Everyone is hoping it doesn't last too long. Emma Pollard, ABC News, Brisbane.
Brisbane's much-loved annual show, the EKKA, has been cancelled for the second year running, leaving organisers, producers and exhibitors devastated. It was due to start this weekend, but the extended lockdown means it's become another COVID casualty.
Sideshow Alley and the amusement rides are all set up, but there'll be no fun there this year.
It is particularly heartbreaking to have to cancel so close to the opening day of show because of the massive effort the EKKA community puts into staging the show each year.
60,000 tickets are already sold. The RNA will start offering refunds. The decision to cancel regrettable, but unavoidable.
We just can't afford to have an event like that where people travel into town, circulate in large numbers. The risk is just too great.
Still, it's come as a huge blow for producers like Terry Connor, who's been preparing to show his bull for 8 months.
To me, it's like the grand final of promotion of the shows.
But he understands.
It is a little bit frustrating. It's the second year in a row that it's been canned, but to me, public health comes first too. So you've got to, health goes before wealth.
In the beef capital, long lines stretched for kilometres at testing stations after a woman unknowingly infected with the virus visited Rockhampton for work last week. She flew in from Brisbane on Wednesday morning and worked at the Rookwood Weir construction site before returning to Brisbane Friday night. The airport has been deep cleaned, construction at the Weir has stopped and more than 200 contacts have been swabbed. So far, all are negative. CCTV footage shows the female contractor was wearing a mask and social distancing. The chances of direct exposure limited to just a couple of minutes. Even so, there's a strong feeling of uncertainty here. And although there were no new cases recorded today, authorities say it's too early to know for sure.
It's a bit of a shock to us because we've been pretty clear up here for a long time, you know.
I just hope people are smart enough to do what they need to do this time round.
A group of Mount Morgan High School students also visited Rookwood Weir on Friday. It's not known if there was any direct crossover, but Peter Cam kept his daughter home from school in case.
Once again, it's just erring on the side of caution. The school remains open. Erin Semler, ABC News, Rockhampton.